you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I'm having a few problems here with this stand. Well, this is a fantastic venue, isn't it? This is the sort of place where, on a Friday and Saturday night, you know it's going to be filled full of men wandering around with bottles of Mexican beer with a slice of lime in the top. I actually did a gig in Ireland a couple of weeks ago in a very similar venue. In fact, this could be exactly it. The only difference is that in there, everyone was wandering around with bottles of Guinness with a potato in the trunk. Now, tonight I'm actually trying something totally new. This is going to be a clean set, which, for those of you that have seen me perform before, will know is going to be a difficult thing to do. We'll see how that goes. If it doesn't work, we'll just throw in some of the usual old filth at the end. But I'd like to start off by inviting you all to my midlife crisis. Like many people my age, I started off entering my 50s writing a bucket list of things I wanted to achieve. And on there it said, have a go at being a stand-up comedian. I very quickly realised that I was not very good at that, so I moved it off the bucket list onto the fuck it list, and I'm still here today. Now, as Louisa said, I actually did one of Louisa's courses a couple of years ago, and I have to say that since then, my career has gone from strength to strength. I've now achieved all 5 stars in McDonald's, and I've been Employee of the Month at least 3 times. But seriously though, you may well have seen me on television recently. I don't know if you ever watched Live at the Apollo with Michael McIntyre. I was there. Second row next to the lady with the orange hair. But seriously, tonight I'm afraid to say that I'm standing in front of you as a broken man. Aww. Unfortunately, my wife is no longer speaking to me, and it's all as a result of a simple mistake. A mistake that anyone could have made. It was her birthday last week, and to say I fucked up is an understatement. She'd been hinting for a long time that what she really wanted was to go for a spa weekend, or at least get some sort of treatment. Well, things have been a little bit tight, but I saw a pop-up offer. Now, this was a pop-up spa. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of pop-ups, but these are basically restaurants and venues that open up in places where they're not normally there. This particular pop-up spa was at Sainsbury's. Well, when I say it was at Sainsbury's, it was actually in the car park. Now, I suppose the alarm bells should have started ringing when I saw the, as I now find out, Polish masseur walking towards us in a blue boiler suit and a high-vis jacket. Yes, you've guessed it, it was a car wash. But she'd been looking forward to this so much, I really didn't want to disappoint her. And so we negotiated a quick wash and polish, and I left her there whilst I went to go and do some shopping. That's when my day started going from bad to worse. I don't know about you, but I hate it when you get the shopping trolley with a wonky wheel. I got the one that would only go over to the left. And being a man, the moment I was in the doors of the shop, I was not going back to admit defeat and change it. It did mean the shopping took an awful lot longer because I had to go all the way around the shop doing all the items I wanted on one side and then reverse back around the shop to get everything on the other side. But eventually I made it to the checkout. Now, one of my pet hates is when it's obvious that the checkout operator is looking at the things that you're putting on your trolley or putting on the conveyor belt, and you can see them passing comment or mentally thinking about it. She picked up the catering pack of Anusol. I could see her thinking, that's a pain in the arse. And then the low-fat diet meal I had. She just looked me up and down and shook her head. But the final insult was when she picked up the packet of biscuits, or chocolate biscuits that was there. she looked me squarely in the eye and said, "You know, you can bog off with these." Apparently, "fuck you" is not an acceptable response to a buy one, get one free offer. She then added everything up and turned around and asked me if I'd swiped my Nectar card. I said, "No, I haven't. I applied for it in store like everyone else does." And then the final coup de grace. She mugged me. Having paid her, she handed me a piece of paper that said that if I'd gone down the road to Tesco's, my week's shopping would have been £2.36 cheaper than Sainsbury's. My response to that, unfortunately, can't be repeated, but I'm no longer welcome in Sainsbury's, which is probably just as well because I'm going to be shopping down the road in Tesco's where it's £2.36 cheaper. So having gone through that experience, I went back out to the car park and I could see my wife shining in the distance. And as I got closer, I could see she now sported 2 nice Christmas tree-shaped air fresheners. She'd obviously mentioned to the Polish masseur that it was her birthday and he'd felt sorry for her. Unfortunately, though, ladies and gentlemen, that's why my wife is no longer speaking to me. Now, as a direct result of that, I can see that we've got people in here of all ages, and I'm taking a bit of a risk here, so you don't have to do it, but are there any gentlemen in the room that are prepared to admit that their wives are going through the menopause? No? Well, I will. My wife is. Now, this menopause thing, well, all I will say is hot flushes. Now, some of the ladies in the room may know what that means. Some of the men, if they've experienced it, they certainly will. It's like going to bed at night, sleeping between an out-of-control nuclear bomb that is likely to go off at any time. Irrespective of my feelings, no duvet, doors, windows open, fans, everything. In fact, she gets so hot, I decided to take advantage of this. And I dug a hole in the garden. And once a week I put her in it, and we use her as a ground source heat pump. She can keep the whole street going for a week. But after the birthday faux pas, I'm afraid it's back to cold showers. Now, I don't know whether or not everyone in the room is from Brighton. I think someone said they were from Reading earlier on. Yeah. I love living in Brighton. I love its multiculturalism, its ethnicity. It's just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful city. I mean, I'm not originally from Brighton, as you can probably tell by my accent. It's English. I originally come from North Yorkshire, where my mum was a great one for dispensing advice to me as I was growing up. One of the first things she used to say to me all the time was, "Eat your greens, it'll put hairs on your chest." I don't know if you can see from there, it worked. Unfortunately, my poor sister, however, has been traumatised for life and needs waxing at least twice a week. The next thing that she said to me was, "Eat carrots, they'll help you see in the dark." I never really got the hang of that one until someone one day said to me that apparently wanking makes you blind. Putting 2 and 2 together, I realised that as long as you knock one out whilst you're eating a carrot, you'll at least be able to see yourself coming. But the good advice wasn't just restricted to my mother. Oh no, my dad caught me smoking one day, and he said, "Mark, this is so bad for you." And he made me sit down there in front of him and smoke one cigarette after another. And after 7 or 8 of them, that was it. I've never smoked a cigarette again. Then a couple of weeks later, he came in and happened to watch or catch me having a wank watching some porn. He said, "Mark, this is not good for you." And he made me sit down. 35 years later, my dad and I still get together at least once a month to relive that moment. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been an absolutely fantastic audience. I've been Mark Wilson. Thank you very much. Good night.
Let's hear it for Mark